The trial of Trump advisor Roger Stone has ended. We now have a conviction. A federal jury has now convicted uh, Stone, who was a longtime advisor to President Donald Trump, of making false statements to Congress, obstruction of justice, and witness tampering. Now, Roger Stone is facing anywhere between 30 to 50 years in prison. However, guys, don't get too optimistic on this one. Under federal sentencing guidelines, Stone, who's never been convicted of a crime before, first time offender, is likely going to receive a substantially shorter sentence, maybe even 5 to 10 years. That's my guess. Nonetheless, lock him up, lock him up, lock. Look, hey, that's going to happen, right? So now, what does this have to do with? I haven't exactly been covering the Roger Stone case in very much detail. But look, this has to do a lot with WikiLeaks and the stolen DNC emails. So now, the emails themselves, let me just state that they are incredibly informative, right? Very telling about Hillary Clinton, about the DNC, about how they basically influenced the nominating process against Bernie Sanders during the 2016 election. I think that was really important to come out, showed the public and private, face of Hillary Clinton, and confirmed a lot of what we knew, and actually has led to some structural reform within the DNC. So that's good, right? Now, during the trial, Stone had bragged publicly that he had inside information on WikiLeaks' plan to release the emails. The emails that, of course, were stolen by the Russians, according to our intelligence agencies. Stole them, gave them to WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks released them, as of course they do. Now, the trial revealed that Stone was in contact as a go-between between Trump campaign officials, Trump himself, and WikiLeaks. Okay, so now those emails, they were stolen in a spear phishing scheme from John Podesta. And like I said, giving to WikiLeaks, which WikiLeaks, of course, you give them something, very likely they're going to release it. Well, that's kind of the whole point of WikiLeaks. And so, yes, they did release those emails. Now, again, I'm going to tell you that personally, I'm not against the release of those emails. If you get the emails, you get damaging information, whether it be against Democrats or Republicans, of them doing something wrong, and not putting actual, like, for example, military secrets, or anything like that would actually damage the country. Well, I'm against the release of that kind of stuff. And WikiLeaks in the past was really, really careful not to release that kind of information that would damage or hinder truth movements or get people killed, right? And they proved that back when they released the cables from Chelsea Manning, which showed the collateral murder video in Iraq. And so WikiLeaks gets a lot of credit for that. At the same time, they released these emails, and yes, it did do a lot of damage to Hillary Clinton's campaign, for sure. So now I defended that position, and I defend that decision, even knowing that Julian Assange and WikiLeaks definitely favored a Republican win back in 2016. That's something that, of course, I do not like. I don't like the fact that Donald Trump won. I didn't like the fact that Assange clearly had a bias towards Donald Trump and against Hillary Clinton. That said, I want to be fair and explain why Assange had this bias, right? And this is coming from his own Twitter DMs to supporters of WikiLeaks. And this was reported in The Intercept. He said, quote, "We believe it would be much better for GOP to win." Now, why is that? He says that Dems media liberals would then form a bloc to rein in their worst qualities. Well, that's interesting. He also said that with Hillary in charge, GOP would be pushing her worst qualities. Dems media neoliberals would be mute. He added by saying, "She is a bright, well-connected, sadistic sociopath," meaning, of course, Hillary Clinton. And added that the GOP will generate a lot of opposition, including through dumb moves, which, look, that's correct. I mean, he's not wrong about that. The GOP has generated a lot of opposition through a lot of dumb / terrible moves. And that's why you have, a lot of people, progressives especially, up in arms. Now, Assange had said this, quote, Hillary will do the same thing, but co-opt the liberal opposition and the GOP opposition. Hence, Hillary has greater freedom to start wars than the GOP and has the will to do so. So his position is Hillary's going to start wars. I don't believe Trump and the Republicans will, because there will be a greater opposition to the Republicans than would be Democrats for doing the same thing. Look, I'm not saying that. Look, I'm actually saying that's an understandable position. I'm not saying I 100% agree with it. But when you look at it that way, it's like, well, I mean, Assange had some good points. Okay. No, I still don't agree that letting Donald Trump win was the best course of action. Ask the kids at in the borders that are locked in the cages that have died. Ask the people that have been killed through. The appearance of all these right wing hate groups, people in Charlottesville, and the Trump administration is a disaster. But if you're only looking at, hey, at least we haven't started any wars, well, I mean, you get that one so far, even though we've had way too many close calls. And look, we're also involved in Syria, by the way. Right now, we're guarding Syrian oil, which Donald Trump wants to commit war crimes and stealing. And we're also, again, involved, or at least we were involved in Yemen. And we're allowing, that tragedy to continue to unfold and supporting Saudi Arabia. And so it's not as if the Trump administration has not come with disastrous foreign policy consequences. So I'm not exactly buying the idea that Hillary would have been worse. But then again, we're never going to know for sure, right? But he does, like I said, make another good point here, and that's the left going to sleep. Well, that's what they did under Obama. I get that. Like under Obama, we had drone strikes, we had the wars that would continue, and other than a small group of progressives that were fighting against that, there was generally crickets, especially from the media. And so, I mean, he's got a point on that. But anyway, let's get back to this. Let's see. Okay. So, again, they worked with the Trump campaign, WikiLeaks did, to release the emails to essentially sabotage Hillary Clinton. I don't really know, again, how effective, because these are Clinton's own words. So how much of a sabotage is it really them, or did she really sabotage herself? I would say that she did sabotage herself. Most of the damage done to Hillary Clinton was done by Hillary Clinton. So let's be fair about that. But anyway, Roger Stone was the point man between the campaign and WikiLeaks. And of course, Roger Stone was proud of it at first. And then once he became a target of congressional investigations, well, then not so proud. And in order to defend himself, he ended up lying on several occasions to Congress. So now, one of them, he claimed that he had exchanged no emails, texts, or documents of any kind related to WikiLeaks or its founder, Julian Assange. Stone also said that he did not communicate with the Trump campaign about what he claimed to have learned about WikiLeaks' plans to release emails. So now he's like, oh, WikiLeaks, what are you talking about? Wiki what? No, I don't know anything. I haven't done anything. I haven't talked to Julian Assange. That has been proven to not be true. Stone told the committee in October 2017 letter that he had used an intermediary to communicate with Assange, a comedian and activist named Randy Credico. So now the story between Stone and Credico gets obviously disastrous. Stone told the committee, like I said, that yes, he had used an intermediary, but never asked that intermediary to do anything related to Assange or WikiLeaks, and that he had exchanged no written communications with that person about WikiLeaks. So it's a direct contradiction. Okay. Now, of course, he did all of that. And we know that because of the evidence presented at the trial. Now, Stone had exchanged numerous emails and texts with Trump campaign officials including Bannon, about WikiLeaks, Stone also emailed with others, including Credico, about the group. On the very day that Stone told the House committee that he only communicated with Credico over the phone or in person, the two men had exchanged about 72 different text messages, according to prosecutors, and they showed those text messages. Stone also repeatedly asked Credico to obtain information about from Assange. The government also argued that Stone had lied by naming Credico as his back channel. But it turns out Credico, not his back channel, it was also Jerome Corsi. So now Jerome Corsi's involved. And so, okay, now prosecutors said, look, it doesn't matter, really, if it's Credico or Corsi, you still lied to us. You lied by saying that you did not speak to that person or seek information from Assange or WikiLeaks and did not communicate with him in writing when we have all of this evidence that's exactly what you did. Now, the other crime is when he turned on Credico. Now, he wanted to block Credico from providing information to Congress once he had been subpoenaed or other investigators that would contradict what Stone had been saying, Stone's defenses. Now, part of that effort to block Credico is using threatening texts and emails, which you can't do. In January 2018, Credico told Stone that he knew Stone's testimony was false. Stone texted back, quote, "No one cares." Well, I mean, the fact that we're talking about it and the fact that he's going to prison partly for it means that, yes, people do care. All right. So, that aged poorly. Stone also told Credico that he would be indicted for perjury if Credico was stupid enough to testify, saying, "You're a drunk. You're an alcoholic. Nobody's going to believe your testimony. You're going to be the one that gets in trouble because I'm a better character witness than you." So that's part of that campaign as well. And on April 9th, 2018, after Credico said he would reveal information contesting Stone's claims, saying all will come out, Stone responded, quote, "I am so ready. Let's get it on. Prepare to die," and then goes on using a homophobic slur. Wonderful. So that homophobic slur involves fellatio, right? Now, Stone later on said, "Oh, no, that's not what that was about. No, it turns out that Credico has prostate cancer. Yeah, that's the ticket. And so I called him that because he's got prostate cancer." What? No, that doesn't make any sense. So, okay. So, and look, I don't even know if Credico has prostate cancer or anything like that. So, look, it's a clown show. That's what this is. But anyway, more substance, right? So let's get to how this affects Trump. So now, this looks bad for Donald Trump because, according to prosecutor Aaron Zelinsky, Roger Stone lied to the House Intelligence Committee because the truth looked bad for the Trump campaign. And the truth looked bad for Donald Trump. That's what he said in his opening remarks to jurors last week. So, lying in order to protect the campaign of Donald Trump. Adding to that was testimony Tuesday by former campaign staffer Rick Gates. Now, Rick Gates suggested that Trump had also probably lied to special counsel Robert Mueller about conversations he had in 2016 with Roger Stone regarding WikiLeaks. So now, with all of that, obviously, Roger Stone found guilty 7 counts, right? So the question is, will Donald Trump pardon him? Probably not. And here's why, right? Michael Flynn hasn't been pardoned. Julian Assange has not been pardoned. Those are 2 people that Trump could pardon. Why does he not do it? I don't know. I want to ask him. Now, here's the thing about Assange. As much as you might disagree with him, and I do, and I point out that, yes, he was helping Donald Trump. He was helping the Trump campaign. And he did have a bias against Hillary Clinton, right? Nonetheless, he's a political prisoner and should not be in prison right now. Yes, he didn't like Hillary. I don't like Hillary. But And look, you probably wouldn't like Hillary if she threatened to drone you too. So I get it. I get it. All that aside, did WikiLeaks do the right thing by releasing the emails? WikiLeaks didn't steal the emails. I don't believe that they worked with the Russians in order to plan to steal the emails. No, the Russians stole the emails. And then they said, well, we got to put it somewhere. I know. WikiLeaks will release anything. Here you go. And so there's that. And they did so in the capacity of journalism, or in the name of journalism, right? So despite that, and despite the impacts the emails had, it did help Donald Trump. Assange, yes, did want to sabotage Hillary Clinton, but I don't think it was exactly for the wrong reasons, as he said before in those texts, even though I disagree with them, but I sympathize. And I certainly don't believe that Assange should be imprisoned right now. But Roger Stone, well, Roger Stone's different. Roger Stone has been a political dirty trickster for as long as he's been on the scene. He's been threatening people. He's been lying, saying outlandish things for decades. And now he just lied to the wrong people, lied to Congress, intimidated witnesses, obstructing justice. And look, he should face justice. And I'm glad at this time he finally is. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.